Hey everyone, this is the Spiritual AF Podcast, and I'm your host, Judd Fink. On this podcast, you'll hear about my personal journey that led me on the path to spiritual growth, the journey of my guests, and the wisdom that we've gained along the way. It's important to me to put this podcast out in hopes that the stories contained in it resonate with the listener and assist people on their own path to healing and growth. I am deeply thankful to even have the opportunity to do this. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, guys. So let's go. And thank you so much for listening. Hey, everyone. This is the Spiritual AF Podcast. I'm here today with best-selling author, Mike Murphy of his book, The Creation Frequency. And I'm just really thankful to have him here today. And so we can go back and forth about what we know, hear his story, and what inspired him to do everything that he's been doing and helping people as well. And so thanks for being here, Mike.
Thank you, Judd. Thanks for having me.
Oh.
Happy Black Friday.
Yeah,
I don't know when this airs, but it's the day after Thanksgiving.
Yep, today is the day after Thanksgiving. Happy Black Friday to you too. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I had a great one. Yeah. I have 4 kids, 8 grandkids. I flew home from Colombia to be with them, and we had a great time.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. So take me through your, journey of discovering the frequency and everything, and how the creation frequency.
So I always like to start. I don't know if you can see this picture. This is me in 1957. Okay. I'm about 6 months old, sitting there on the couch with a bottle of beer next to me and a cigarette hanging out of my mouth. And my mother had written under the Polaroid, learning young, just like mommy and daddy. So, we're programmed to become certain things based on where we're born, who we're born to, what time of place and time. Like, I was born in America in the 60s, a whole different thing than being born in America today, right?
Yeah.
So I think that it's about undoing our programming and then getting in touch with who we are again, remembering who we are and why we came here, and really trying to figure that out. So for me, because of my programming, I left home at age 14. I just knew something was wrong in my house. And my dad was an alcoholic. And so I became a habitual runaway, juvenile delinquent, got kicked out of every school I ever went to, spent a lot of time in juvenile hall. And then at age 21, I found someone dumb enough to marry me. And at 23, we had our first child. And because I was habitual runaway, and when things didn't go my way, I just left. Well, things weren't going well in the marriage. But the bad part was I was living with her 5 siblings, her younger siblings, and her parents, and our 2-month-old daughter, because I didn't have a job, I didn't have an education, I didn't have anything going for me. And I was humiliated. And that didn't frankly bother me. What bothered me is everybody in that house knew I was a loser, and that's where the humiliation came from. So one Sunday afternoon, I just packed up all my stuff and I left. And I took off and I partied for a week, and then I called her up and said, okay, I'm ready to come home. And she said, that's okay, we'll pass on that one. So, but by the grace of God, the next day I ended up in a 12-step program. And for the first time, I started to get a little hope that there might be a future for me. And we ended up getting divorced, and I'm in this 12-step program, and I can't stay off drugs and alcohol because I'm brokenhearted that I've messed up this marriage. I don't see my daughter very much, and I just can't stay straight. And a buddy of mine says, hey, I've never met anybody as messed up as you, but I might know somebody that can help you. And so he introduced me to a recovering alcoholic in the 12-step program. I didn't know anything about it, but here's what he said to me. He said, Mike, you come here 1 hour a week for 7 weeks. I promise you'll get everything you want in your life. And by the way, it's $50 an hour. And I frankly didn't have 50 cents, but we had checks back in those days, so I could write a bad check to get going. And so basically what he taught me was you have to create a balanced life. So we broke my life into 6 areas. You have career, you have relationships, you have finances, you have hobbies, you have personal development. And one of the things he said, you have to contribute to the world. You have to give back. So he said, the other thing is there's no difference between imagination and reality. So whatever you can imagine, you can create. Yeah. So he goes, what do you want most in your life right now? I said, well, I want my wife who hates my guts. We've been divorced at that point 2 years. She hates my guts. I want my wife and my daughter back. He goes, okay, let's write a powerful intention as if it already exists. So I start writing on his kitchen table. Lisa and I are so happily married. Our daughter Michelle thrives in it. Now I know it's BS. I know she doesn't like me, hates me. I don't blame her. But I got a little bit of hope. And so we finished writing it. Come back the next week. What do you want most in your life? I want to make $10,000 a month. I never made more than 2,000. What else do you want? I want to own my own business. What else you want? To own my own house. What else you want? I want to run a marathon. What else you want? And it's got to be contribution. Well, my dad had a troubled childhood. I had a troubled childhood. Let's create a home for troubled youth.
Yeah.
So week 7 is where the magic took place. So I show up, I got my 6 intentions. They're only 1 or 2 paragraphs long, but they're written as if they already exist. And he hands me a relaxation script, a 2-page relaxation script. He also brings out a boom box, and inside the boom box, he puts in a theta brainwave tape. And then he hands me a microphone attached to a tape recorder, and he puts in a blank cassette tape. He says, while I'm playing the theta brainwave music, I want you to record in your own voice this relaxation script and your 6 intentions. So I do it. And so now we're over. 7 weeks is over. I leave there. I'm $350 poor, and I got a cassette tape. And he says, listen, I want you to listen to that tape every morning right when you wake up and every night right before you go to bed. Now, I didn't know why he was doing any of this to me. I do now know, because when I wrote the book 30 years later called The Creation Frequency, I wanted to know who this man was. So I actually hired a private investigator to find him. He had passed away. I found his son. It turns out that he'd been studying Silva mind control. And then he put in some of these own concepts of his own, especially using the power of your voice to record these intentions. Now I know what was happening. Number one, he's putting me in theta brainwave state, which is a self-hypnotic state, which is the state we're in from birth till about age 7 or 8, and we're a sponge. We learn by absorbing. So he was getting me into that state. He's also reprogramming my 50 trillion cells, telling them what I want, how I feel, what I want to do. I'm activating my reticular activating system in my brain, so I'm staying laser focused on these 6 intentions. But more importantly, and this is what I've come to know most recently, you study the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. He talks about the field of infinite possibilities, which Nikola Tesla called plasma. The Bible calls ether. The Chinese call chi. The Indians call prana. This is energy right here. Think of this. You're probably in Midwest somewhere. Yeah. I'm in California. And how is all this happening, right? I can pick up this thing. I can text someone in China in less than a second. How does that happen? It travels on this field of infinite possibilities. That's right. So when I'm listening to these intentions every morning and every night, is going in these intentions, these thoughts, these electrical energies. They're things, okay? Their thoughts are things. They go into the field of infinite possibilities where they meet like-minded ideas. We were talking earlier about frequency. So these thoughts, these intentions are vibrating at a certain frequency where they meet up with other intentions. So the right author might show up, the right funding might show up, the right person might show up. All of that's called the law of attraction. That's when things start to work. And the other thing is, the more love I can attach to these intentions, the heart is the magnet. So the intention, it sends it into the field, and the heart draws it back. The heart is 60 times more powerful than the mind. So that's how it works. And that's how everything in this world works. We go out, like we have this beautiful wellness resort in Medellin, Colombia. We grow over 50 different vegetables there. But we go out, we plant a seed into the soil, and 2 or 3 weeks later, we get a fruit or a vegetable. This is how everything works. Everybody's using the law of attraction. They just don't know it, right?
Yeah, all the time.
And so they don't realize it. So they keep attracting. They're vibrating at such a low frequency, and they keep attracting the same low frequency energies. When we understand how this works, and we can increase our frequency based on love and service to one another, then we start to really manifest what we truly desire.
Yes, it is about what you are, what you attract. Exactly. The way that you think about it.
Whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're vibrating at, whatever you're feeling, I really think feeling is the most important thing. Especially as men, we're taught not to feel. But see, the problem is I see it that we get hurt, right? And we get hurt, so we start to build walls around our heart. Well, if we're not going to live in our heart, where are we going to live? We go up here. And in the head, we're dead. I call it the insane asylum, right? But when I can live from my heart and create these intentions and desires that serve me and others, then I can use this supercomputer called a brain to manifest what it is I truly want.
Yeah, absolutely. It is about the heart. It's heart and brain coherence, actually, right?
Yep.
And in the theta, it's where you are just a sponge the entire time. So that's where you can reprogram everything from.
Exactly right. And more importantly, you get into the subconscious mind.
Yes.
Which we're 95% of our life, we're lived in the subconscious, which is other people's programming, right? But I believe that there's only one mind. So we're all attached to this same mind.
Yeah.
And when we can access that, then we can create miracles in our life.
Yeah. And that's where you attract the stuff. Once you are reprogrammed and you have the feeling and intention behind it, and everything just, the people do come into your life, the right funding, as you were saying before, just whatever it is. And you attach the feeling to it, the knowing that it's going to come. It doesn't have to be visual in that moment. It's just, you have to be sure and continue to take the action steps forward and not sit, and it's perfectly imperfect, right? And so
it's actually perfectly perfect. Yeah. But the problem is we live in an illusion.
Correct.
See, now that we understand quantum physics, the illusion is the solidity of this, right? Because everything is 99.9999% space because we're made of atoms. Yeah. So this is everything backwards. We're a spirit. I love the name of your show. Yeah. I'm assuming what AF stands for. but I love about it because we're spiritual beings. But I live in this animal body. I urinate, I fornicate, I defecate, but I'm spirit, right?
Yes.
So that's the contrast right there. Then we live in this world. This world is created through duality. So we can't have hot without cold. We can't have black without white, good without evil. So that's the problem. So we have to be very, very conscious and aware of what's going on here. And then when we figure that out, then we can live a more sustainable life based on goodness and love and service to one another.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So what would you say is the best way someone can start implementing that? Like just, someone who doesn't know much about this stuff, about the...
So there's a lot of things, right? Number one, we got to feel good. Okay.
Yes.
And a lot of it's, our diet and our lifestyle and our physical well-being. And the world is so toxic today. So this is why we teach a lot about detox at our wellness resort, because if the body's not functioning and hitting on all 8 cylinders, you're not going to be able to operate spiritually as well as you could if this body was operating. So we have to take care of the body. Then we have to understand that we're not our thoughts. Thoughts are random. Memories are one thing, but thoughts are another thing. So we have to understand that we're in control. We're not our thoughts. We're not our body. Who are we? We are the person in control. We're the essence. We're the spirit. We're the soul. So I get to decide what thoughts that activate me, which ones get to stay here, which ones I get to act on. So when we start taking control of this, and say, hey, I'm in control of this now. And now we move into our heart and we start to heal. We all have traumas that we need healing. Yes. I'm undoing childhood programming. Yes. So it's a never-ending thing, right? When we're done, we're probably out of here, right? So we have to get back into the heart. So we got to take care of the body. We got to realize that we're in control of our thoughts. We get to decide what stays there, what we grow, what we manipulate. And then more importantly, we need to get into this heart and heal it. And then more importantly, then we have to remember why we're here, or start figuring out why are we here? What is our purpose for being here? And that's where a lot of people struggle with. Why am I here? But once we can get quiet and get in the present moment, then life will start to show us why we're here. The right people will show up, the right opportunities, the right desires will show up, and we'll figure out why we're here.
Yeah. And the better you take care of your body, the easier of a channel you are, the more you're allowing it as well, right? Because you don't have all of the junk, that you're putting in your body that's, not organic or not healthy for you, whatever.
And on top of that, we live in this electromagnetic spectrum, right? So we have to get out onto Mother Earth barefoot with as little clothes as possible. We need to ground the Mother Earth, pick up those negative electrons. We need to watch the sun rise, pick up those positive photons, because we're batteries. The human cell is a battery, and it just needs water and fat, and it will function. And we really don't need to eat nearly as much as what we eat, right?
Yes.
There's actually people that are breatharians that don't eat at all. We have to tap into all of this stuff, but we need to know about it. And who teaches us this? Nobody. So we have to go figure this out. The good thing about today's world is everybody's either a coach or a podcaster or an influencer. So if you're stupid today, you really have no excuses, because there's a wealth of information out there.
Yes, it's all out there. Everything is out there. And it's all just said in different ways, but it's actually all the same thing, just like religion or any belief system. It's literally all the same thing, just under different.
There's the good and there's the bad. So we have to focus on the good and the intelligent, and realize that there is a bad, there is an evil, there is misinformation, there is propaganda, there is programming. So we have to be, as the Bible says, we have to be as sweet as a dove and as wise as a serpent.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. And so what are some common misconceptions about manifesting and the law of attraction, and how would you address those?
I think people just don't, they try it, they hear about it, they watch The Secret, they read this book, they do this, and they go, okay, yeah, this works. And they try it for a week and it doesn't work in a week, so they give up. If I go out and plant an acorn today, it's going to be a long time till I see that oak tree. There's certain things that I can manifest quickly. I can plant probably a watermelon seed and have a watermelon in a week or two, but some things take longer. So we have to realize that the law of attraction and manifestation, it takes time. Now, the better we get at it, the more we practice it, the more we use it, and the more we experience it, then we can speed that up. But it's really turning off this mind, okay, and getting into this field. Everything is created. Almost everything in your physical reality started as a thought and a desire. Yes. And then it comes to your 3D reality. So we have to understand that. We have to create it in our mind's eye first, or in the field of infinite possibilities first, and then we bring it to us.
Yes.
So everything's backwards here.
Yeah. And the more you show up for, the more you show up for yourself, you do change your thoughts. The neuroplasticity happens, all that. Your vibration is raising that entire time, And
the more you can give to others,
yes.
You really want to raise your vibrational frequency, love and serve others. Okay.
That's right.
And you can't outgive God. You're going to get blessed beyond your wildest belief system.
Absolutely. It's great how it all actually works. And yeah, you can go back down, with your thoughts, go back into your negative thinking, even when you've been showing up for yourself and stuff. But it's not as if you forget, you know what I mean? You can get right back to it, once you deal with whatever you're dealing.
Yeah, but the other thing is, Judd, is life's going to throw us curveballs.
That's right.
Okay. Little kids get cancer. You're going to lose your job. Your wife's going to leave you. I mean, these things happen, right? And it's our response to these things. So the stronger we are physically, the stronger we are mentally, the stronger we are emotionally, and the stronger we are spiritually, then these things don't affect us. One of my favorite teachers in the world is a woman named Byron Katie. And I did her 2-week school of the work, which was profound. And she says in one of her talks, she says, if my husband were to come home to me tonight and say, hey, Katie, I met someone else, I'm leaving you, she would say, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. She must be amazing. Would you like me to do the paperwork, or would you like to do the paperwork? Now, there's a strong mentally, physically, emotionally person, right, that says, okay, life is happening for me. Tony Robbins talks a lot about life happening for you, not against you, right? So it's how we respond to these things. And I'd like to tell you that when life throws me curveballs, or this person quits, or that thing didn't show up the way I have to struggle with these things just like everybody else. But it's just a matter of how long we struggle with before we pick ourselves back up, we brush ourselves off, and we get back into the game.
That's exactly right. It's the letting go, being able to let go,
Yeah.
And we're able to do that more and more as we do heal our traumas, as we do raise our vibration, as we do all these things. It's easier to let go, like you're saying. Okay, this didn't work out, this person left, got divorced, whatever, and you should be happy for whomever. Say you are in a relationship, like you just said, if they did meet someone else that's better for them and more vibrationally aligned for them, then you should be happy for that.
Right. That's a pretty mature response. I'd like to say I'm at that point, but I'm not.
Oh, I know.
But that's a good point to go for, right? To become that evolved that you can really live like that.
Yeah. And there, of course, there's going to be challenges that come up. And I don't even like to call, the universe testing you, right? But it's when you're going to keep being presented with the same things over and over again until,
You bring up a good point, because if there is a lesson that we need to learn, it will keep showing up until we master that. So that's one thing about the way life works, is that, those struggles, those things will keep showing up until we learn to overcome them. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's everything is always going to work out. Like, no matter what it is, everything is always going to work out. There's always a way forward. There's always, a way to help others, no matter what position you're in, and then through helping others, you're going to raise your vibration. You're going to attract more things. You're going to do all the stuff. You just have to, and that's the other thing, not trying to control it, but just controlling your thoughts and your actions, not trying to control how it comes, needing to know how it comes, no matter what position you're in.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a good book that was written called The Surrender Experience. And this guy just wanted to go into the Everglades, and he just wanted to meditate. And he ended up building a house. Then he ended up learning about computers. Then he ended up becoming a billionaire. But his philosophy was, I'm going to say yes to whatever shows up, And so that's a good way to live life. I kind of look at life like it's a lazy river. And we jump into the river of life, and we just let it go where it takes us. Instead of trying to swim upstream or create my will, let go, let God, surrender. You would think that would be the easiest thing to do, but it's actually the hardest thing to do, is to let go, let God, and just go down this river of life as peacefully as you can. Yeah. And you can have intentions, but be flexible with the outcome, right? So I created an intention to create this wellness resort in Medellin, Colombia. I've been working on it for the last 6 years of my life, pouring my heart and soul into it. But it's nothing like what I first envisioned, because it's manifesting through me with the grace of God, and it keeps evolving and becoming bigger and better, because I'm not attached to the outcome. The final product is none of my business. My goal was to go and to create it and create the best product that I can, but I had no intention other than that. And then I let people show up and let things happen, and now we've created this beautiful business.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can visualize, and you know what I mean? And because that's a part of it too, visualization and meditation. But it could be 20, 30, who knows, infinitely times better than what you can imagine in your mind,
Absolutely.
As long as you just allow it to come. And
well said.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to somebody who is just completely lost, like you were in the past, and just needing that help, needing to know that they're supported by the universe, no matter, what things look like in the current moment?
Well, I would say most of us, if not all of us, we have something in our life that's holding us back. We have a bad habit, or we have a bad thought, or we have something that we can't let go of, right? We're all living in these little secrets, right? And we need to become open and transparent. And what I find is that most people want to become the victim. I love playing the victim. I love self-righteous anger. I love it when I'm the victim, but guess what? Either all of us are victims or none of us are victims. Pick your poison. And the truth of the matter is, none of us are victims. We all came here. We all been given this life. Now, some of us have been given harder lives than others and been born into more difficult circumstances than others. And that's just the way it is, right? But we're not victims. We're powerful creators. Because when I play the victim, guess what? I've given my power away. I say, well, I'm messed up because of this, or I'm messed up because of that person, right? Yeah. And I've given my power away to that circumstance or that person. So I think we all have to realize that we're powerful creators. There's a way to learn this manifestation process and to manifest what we truly want. We need to stay consistent with it. We
Yes.
need to get rid of as many bad habits as we can and replace them with good habits, which is all part of this manifestation and law of attraction thing, right? The stronger we can become physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the easier it is to navigate life, and the easier it is to create a beautiful life that we desire to be a part of. With the understanding is that life is still difficult. That's the problem with the new age people, right? Everything's positive, positive. No, life is difficult. You know, one of my favorite books I read many, many years ago is called The Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck. And the opening line in the book is life is difficult. See, and the problem, and I think especially in Americans, you know, we don't think life is supposed to be difficult. It's supposed to be easy and supposed to give us everything. I live in Colombia, which is South America. Colombia is a tough country, right? And I'll never forget, I was doing this, we were having a workshop, and I was helping this young man, probably a 25-year-old man, and I was trying to help him buy a car and this or that, and his dad shows up. I said, hey, I'm trying to help Sam buy a car. Why? Well, because he had to ride his motorcycle tonight and it was pouring rain and it's dangerous. And he looked at me and he goes, Mike, life is dangerous, you know? And so as an American, that really struck me, right? Because Americans, now, if I live in Chicago right now and I'm African-American, life is dangerous. But, you know, where I live, life is not dangerous the way it is for people in other countries. Sure. And we have to realize that, you know, that we're very fortunate, at least we were very fortunate to live in this great country, and hopefully we can make it great again. But we have a lot of work to do to clear up all the homelessness, all the crime, the problems with the border, the problems with healthcare. So there's a lot of work we have to do here in America. And the problem is nobody wants to do it, you know, because everybody's either a victim or everybody's watching football or doing this or that. The truth of the matter is, if we don't wake up and we don't get together and start working together, you know, humanity is going to be in for a tough spot. So I think it's right now, it's what you're doing in the world, what other people are doing in the world, I think is vitally important to wake people up to say, hey, there's more to this life, but we need to work together because the powers to be, it's all divide and conquer. You know, now it's not black and white. I mean, they break it down into all these subcategories now, you know, and so divide and conquer. We're all connected. There's only one source of energy, you know, and the same energy that created me, created you, and it will always be here. We can never die. You know, we entered this vessel called a human body, and we'll leave this vessel called a human body, but we'll always be here. So we need to really, I think, take care of one another right now. I think this is a crucial time in humanity right now.
Yeah. I think it's about, well, I know it's ultimately about unconditional love, right? Everything is, because we're just humans. Like, I don't care what race someone is. They are human, you know? And everything is connected. Everyone is connected. The people you encounter in your life are, you know, on your vibrational level. Like, if you choose to interact and everything and engage with these individuals, they are on that level, or they're wanting to know more, or they're on a similar level, right? And so through being unconditional love and being able to let go and seeing things for what they are, right? Seeing things in the, when you are able to change the way that you look at things through your healing, because you're more healed and you more understand how everything actually is, right? And and the human condition of suffering and all those things along the line, you're going to attract those people that need the healing, that want to know, that, you know, and everything, and everything just works out that way.
Amen.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so, like, I think it's this stuff that you do is incredible as well. You know, thank you so much for doing what you do. And I'm with this new age coming in too. It's going to be more about unity rather than division, I believe, and unconditional love and acceptance of everyone. And I'm not saying, like, you know, people shouldn't be punished for, like, completely egregious actions against others, right? But that's their stuff to learn, right, from.
Yeah, I mean, but it's always been like this, right?
Correct.
Everything's a big pattern and a big circle. And I really believe what's happening today, we have 26,000-year cycles, right? And so what's happening right now, I think started December 21st, 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar. and we're going from a masculine energy, which is physicality, penetration, domination, control, into a feminine energy, which is love, opening, nurturing. So there's a struggle going on energetically, male and female, right? And so I think that's a good thing. I think the masculine's gotten too heavy. I love the yin yang circle, half white, half dark, but it's too dark now. We need to push more light into that, and we need to bring more balance into the world and get rid of, there's way too much suffering. There's way too much poverty. There's too much murder. There's homelessness. I mean, why? Why are we doing this to one another? We're all in this together, right? Because we're controlled by these powers to be, these governments and this and that. It's time for mankind to wake up. And honestly, that takes a spiritual revolution.
It does.
Because we're not going to win in the physical. We're not going to win in the 3D. They got all the money, all the power, all the weapons. But spiritually, through love, through unconditional love, this is how we can make a difference in one another's lives. And then we create a groundswell of community and unity based on integrity and responsibility. And then it's going to be from the ground up that we push change. And you see change happening already, and you're going to see more and more of it. You're going to see a groundswell of change. Now, there's a lot of suffering. Look at what we're doing in Gaza, for crying out loud. Look at what Ukraine and Russia. I mean, these things have to stop. And they're only going to stop if enough people wake up and say, hey, this has to stop. But I do think that's happening. So that's the good news. The good news is this isn't the first time we've gone through this in the history of mankind. It won't be the last. It's a cycle. But now everybody gets to step up and play a role and become a leader. And that's what we need. No more victims, just creative leaders.
Yes. And the more creative leaders are, through their authenticity and it's going to allow everyone else to be the unconditional love and show up in their own authenticity and everything and have their own voices and create that unity that we're all looking for, that more on the feminine side of everything.
Exactly.
And it is happening. It's just, in this reality, a lot of people are focused on the negative. So what you focus on expands, right? So
But where's that negativity coming from? It's coming out of these idiot boxes that we sit around and watch.
Correct.
Okay. And or they're coming from the governments, and we don't create war. You and me don't create war.
Right.
We don't have that power, right? So who's doing that? They say we live in a democracy and we vote these people in. Well, they're not doing what I wanted them to vote them in, So there's just too much corruption, and that's why things have to be destroyed to be built back up. And I think that's what's happening right now. It's like the Wizard of Oz. We've looked behind the curtain and we've seen there's just a little guy there controlling all this bullshit, right? So now that we know that, now what are we going to do about it? So that's why I'm super excited about the next, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, what's going to happen here. And I think we are going to usher heaven back on the earth and create a better way of life.
Oh, man. I totally agree with that. It is very exciting, and there's going to be a lot of change. I mean, a ton of change coming in the future. And it's people like, yourself and other leaders that are going to help initiate this change.
I mean, I'm 67 years old, so I have the luxury of looking back and saying, whoa, what happened? Whoa. Now it's pretty obvious to me what's going on, right? But we need to get everybody on the same page and working together for a better world.
Yeah. We're more, more than one individual because of the way that we're connected. And with the common goal, that's where everything gets amplified more and more and more and more and more when we're all on the same page for, the growth, the unconditional love, and all of those things. Yeah,
and we have this beautiful technology right now where you have this podcast show. I'm your guest on the show, and we can carry this message. Now, the internet can also be used for bad things as well as good things, right? But right now we're using it for good. And so the more we can do that, the better off we're going to be. It's just we need more momentum of going in the right direction. But it's happening. It's really happening.
It really is. And it's just through the consistency, right? A collective consistency as well, raising the vibration and everything. This has been a great talk already, and so How do individuals find you?
Okay, so my passion right now is a place called Mountains of Hope.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 20-acre wellness resort in Medellin, Colombia. So that's where I live. That's where I work. That's my passion right now is to create a place. Our philosophy is that the environment made you sick. And so to get well, you need to change the environment. So we've created an environment where people can come and learn to heal themselves. We believe
Yes.
that the body wants to heal itself. We believe the mind wants to heal itself. The heart wants to heal itself. And the spiritual person will uh, come forward
Yeah.
and continue the healing process. So we've created this place. So Mountains of Hope is my passion, where I spend a lot of my time. My personal website is MikeMurphyUnfiltered.com. That's where my books are, my online course, and stuff like that. But to really find me, you go to Mountains of Hope and come down there.
That's excellent. And yeah, everything comes, what you're teaching too is everything comes back to the self, right? And your healing,
Yeah.
right? Everything always comes back to yourself. And
Well, if I'm not healed, I can't help you.
exactly.
So the more I can heal myself, the more I can help others heal
Mm-hmm.
themselves. Because we don't believe that we heal anybody. We just put them in an environment where they can
What they
heal
can do.
themselves, and that we're all designed to heal ourselves. And the problem is there's so much toxicity in the world, in the physical world, from heavy metals we don't even eat real food in America. It's all GMO. It's loaded with glyphosate. So it's really poisonous. I think there's a lot of food in America that you can't even export to Europe because it's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
So America is one of the worst countries when it comes to the quality of our healthcare. And the other thing is our soil is ruined here. So even if you put good seeds in the soil has been so ruined and not taken care of. What I love about what we do, we have virgin soil. We don't use chemicals. We grow only natural fruits and vegetables. So everything is pure. But then there's the toxicity of the mind. There's the toxicity of the emotional system. So a lot of us are walking around in fight or flight all the time. We don't even realize it. We never get to take a deep breath and relax. So there's a lot of things that we can do to create better health for ourselves, but we have to do it. We have to get up and do it.
Yes.
And that's what Mountains of Hope is all about: is inspiring people to take care of themselves, come there, heal, and then go home and take that message back home of healing and hope, and kind of have a ripple effect in the world.
I love that. Well, and if anyone wants to reach me, you can reach me at spiritualpathcoaching.com, and you can reach Mike at Mike Murphy Unfiltered as well. Geez, Mike, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Judd.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. Nice to meet you, and I love what you're doing, and thanks for having me on.
It's been a pleasure for me too, man. Thanks very much. All right, this has been another episode of Spiritual AF Podcast, and namaste.